Welcome to Game of Roses. This is PaceCase.
This is Bachelor Clues. It's Monday, which means this is going to be a digging deeper. And let me just say, this is going to be a doozy of a digging deeper because right now in Bachelor Nation, all hell is breaking loose. We had these...
What did Claire do this time?
Exactly. We had these two articles come out this past week on Thursday and Friday by Peter White, essentially saying everybody in the Bachelor crew, everybody below the line has been terminated because they don't need them for this upcoming season of Bachelorette, which is not happening. And there was a giant article that came out Friday by Peter White, essentially saying Claire Freeland and Bennett Graebner are to blame for a toxic workplace environment. Everyone hates them. And in the comments of that article, there are producers chiming in, either saying, yes, this article is correct, these people are terrible demons and they should be fired, or some people are arguing that it's Claire and Bennett using pseudonyms in the comments trying to defend themselves. Comments? Yes.
That's what I mean. How can you tell that they're real producers commenting?
I did a whole video on this on YouTube. Check it out, where I read every comment, at least up to the time that I recorded it, which is about 65 comments, I think, at the time. I think they're credible. The things they're saying are like, I don't think you'd be saying this stuff unless you really actually did work on the production. So with all that said, we have clips today from a variety of different podcasts, including all of our favorites, Ben and Ashley I, The Great One, and some other kind of peripheral ones where producers from The Bachelor are kind of talking about what the workplace environment was like, what their experience was, if they have guilt about how they treated players. We have a lot to cover, so we might as well jump into it. Are you ready, PaceCase?
Let's go.
All right. Our first clip comes to us from... Sorry.
By the way, it is Monday, so we will be doing our watch party at 33 Taps. So come join us if you're in the LA area at 8 p.m. in 33 Taps in Silver Lake.
Indeed. Thanks. We'll be there. So our first clip comes to us from a podcast called The Journal. This is one we don't normally cover, but The Journal had a very special guest on it on February 12th, a producer who worked on The Bachelor for 9 years. And in this first clip, this producer reveals tids on how the sausage is made. Are you ready, PaceCase?
Let's go.
Here we go.
We talked to Nick Thompson from Love is Blind, and he was saying, you know, he also felt like he wasn't getting enough sleep. They weren't like feeding them enough. There was alcohol on set. Does that sound familiar to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we always said that alcohol was like truth serum, and it is. You know, people's inhibitions go away most of the time. They're a little more apt to speak their mind and to say what they feel, and they'll probably be a little more emotional when there's alcohol involved. And yes, there were times that they probably should have been fed more, but that was not from us saying, let's starve them. It was from us staying on a schedule. Because we start shooting something specific, we're going to stop for cheeseburgers. It's not going to happen.
Okay. This is a fascinating clip. First of all, I love The Journal. I love that they're using wall-to-wall music under everything. Somebody else used to do that back in his heyday. That was me.
Somebody else didn't make us stop doing it. A lot of somebody else's, besides this, somebody else made us stop.
Well, here The Journal haven't learned their lesson yet. So we get this interesting information coming out. They're talking about, they open this conversation with Love is Blind, and obviously how there have been lawsuits to this end. Many players have accused them of withholding food, withholding medicine, sleep depriving them. And this Bachelor producer is saying that's all the same tactics we have used on The Bachelor. But he's trying to kind of like pawn it off and say like, it wasn't because we were trying to deprive them of food. We're just on a tight shooting schedule. And we can't break how shooting
schedules be.
It's in any other production. Reality TV is not governed by any laws, by any guilds, by any kind of union. So they don't have to apply to the same rules that, like, if you're on a scripted show, you have to have meal breaks. You have to have meals provided to you in many cases.
Every certain amount of hours.
Yeah.
And you get paid extra if you're being withheld your rights and stuff. Like there's all of these things that are set up to protect you. And it's why it's like so hard to hear this, because they're doing it to the people. It's not required in order to make productions. All scripted, I mean, most scripted, everything has these protections. And it's just time. This is
Absolutely.
not okay.
But this is interesting that, like I was saying earlier, all hell is breaking loose in Bachelor Nation right now. Not only is this article coming out that is naming producers, not even just naming them as like they're bad producers or they made a toxic workplace environment. In that article that came out Friday, Peter White names Claire Freeland as the producer who made the decision to have Jen Tran sit on that hot seat and watch back her proposal footage. So we're in an era now where producers are going to be held accountable on a per name basis, and producers are coming out of the woodwork like this guy, Michael Carroll.
Traitors are turning on each other.
Yes, it basically is that. This is the traitors in the turret trying to take each other out. Michael Carroll is the Boston Rob of Bachelor Nation.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the floodgates are opening a little bit. And if you go back and watch that video I made about the reading the comments on that Deadline article, assuming those are all producers, again, they are doing it anonymously.
I'm scared.
But you are just getting how the sausage is made in a way that has literally never happened before in Bachelor Nation. This is a tidal wave of tea that is demolishing the sauce wars. I think we are in an era of sauce wars right now where the good guys are winning to some degree. And I absolutely love it. I hope that it is transformative for the franchise in a way that doesn't completely destroy it. Hopefully it can rise from the ashes here. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully the Sauce Wars is like the Bear season 2 and not the Bear season 3 in terms
is that
of
bad?
the sauce.
Is Bear season 3
out
bad?
Of the pans. It was not my personal favorite, but
yeah, we didn't watch
art
it.
hits everyone different.
We didn't watch it. We gave up on it. All right, let's move
Too
to
much
our
90 Day.
Yeah, there's so much 90 Day to watch. There's like 10 new 90 Day shows every goddamn week, it seems like. All right, let's move
the
on.
Golden age of 90 Day.
They're gonna find where the ceiling is. Like, can we
haven't found the ceiling
simultaneously do 90 Day before the 90 days, 90 Day the other way, 90 Day last resort, and 90 Day house or whatever they're calling that? There's
Ever
5 90 Day
after.
shows. Yeah, like I don't know. I
Past
don't know
the
if they can do
altar,
it.
before the altar, singles edition, pillow
Oh,
talk.
yeah. There was the 90 Day singles thing. Yeah, I mean, and Pillow Talk. God, you're right. There's like 7 or 8 90 days, I guess. At any rate, let's move on to our next clip, in which Michael Carroll talks about after working on multiple seasons back to back, he had some moments of regret. He started feeling bad for what he used to do to these cast members. Let's take a listen.
Were there ever concerns about how cast members were feeling on set or dealing with their environment?
Yes, because you're a compassionate human being, and we all weren't like evil people. But after doing it season after seasons, I started to go, okay, this is, there's times that I'm really messing with these girls and I'm really kind of like manipulating and tricking them. So there were times that I really started to feel it for them.
Interesting. There were times I really started to feel it for them, but didn't stop doing it.
Yeah, and also like they're adult women. We're calling them girls. I don't know. I saw something that was like, we need to start calling adult men boys the same way that we're calling them girls. I'd be like, these boys are whatever. Like, we just don't. And it's just, I think it's kind of a way of like, I don't know, infantilizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just bumping me.
I've always thought that there was like maybe an equivalence between guys and girls.
You're a boy boss,
I love that.
Let's get this boy boss in here.
Yeah. Bennett Graebner's the boy boss of Bachelor Nation right now.
Boy boss Bennett.
But it is always interesting to hear when producers
Boy boss baby
have some kind of, I don't know how long it's been since Michael Carroll was not on the show, was not a producer on the show. But it's always interesting to hear when they have some kind of reflection, maybe some distance from what they've done to the players over the course of their tenure in Bachelor. And they have some regret and they have some idea that what they did was bad in terms of just kind of on a personal level. Even though he says, because I'm an empathetic person, it's like, well, are you? If you can do that job for 9 seasons, it's like, I don't know if you are. And there are... I guess
think
kind
you
of
have to like cut off that empathy to do that.
Of course you do. Because in many cases, these producers, like when you come into the Bachelor franchise, it's very rare that you come in at the top. Like Claire Freeland was brought in at the top, but from Bachelor Canada, which she had, I think, ran for 3 seasons. And she had to work her way up through other reality shows and so on and so forth. You don't come in at the top usually. Usually, you come in as like a PA or something, and you have to really work your way up and put in the grunt work and put in the hours and put in the seasons to maybe get promoted.
Live amongst the rats.
In Bachelor
I know
Paradise,
there was something
at least
about
amongst
PAs
the crabs.
living among rats.
Yeah, exactly. And so you kind of you're on the receiving end of the people on the top telling you to do these manipulations, get her to cry, or you're going to get fired. Or maybe they incentivize you by giving you $100 if you get somebody to break down or whatever. And so that gets kind of trained into you that that's how the show is made. So that once you're in a position of power to make some of the creative decisions, you just keep making the same ones that the people above you have made for the prior years. And I think it just it's a kind of pattern that gets trained into these producers.
Like frat hazing.
Exactly.
It happened to me. I'm going to do it to them.
Yeah. I mean, you come from
I had to pay for college. You should be in debt all your life.
It is like that. And you come from originally the talent agency world. It's exactly like that. You start as an assistant where the talent agents just treat you like complete shit. And then if you can sustain that, if you can survive the treatment, ultimately you might get promoted to be an agent yourself. And now you're going to do the exact same thing to your assistant because that's what they did to me. And that cycle somehow needs to be broken in reality TV.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it takes other than a new kind of way of making reality TV. And I don't think Chris Cullen at Kinetic Content is the guy who's doing the new way of making reality TV. You know, like he's doing much the same stuff here.
I think, and the vindictiveness comes through as well out of those producers. I was thinking about my PTCs last night. I don't know why, but I was like, everyone has hidden PTCs that you don't know. And especially if you have a parasocial relationship with people, like I've shared a couple of my PTCs, like the talent agency one and, you know, some other things, but maybe mental health. But I have so many more that I won't tell the audience. Or
a deep reservoir
anyone.
of PTCs.
And like everyone does, I think. It's like, I don't know, you know.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think about that when I'm watching the Love is Blind episodes now. And I'm like watching Dave like slut shame Lauren and being like, okay, maybe this is the worst. This is his worst moments of his life is how he's acting right now. Maybe I'm like, what's the best possible?
I mean, the truth is in all these shows is you just don't know these people at all. The only thing you're seeing is what the producers want to put on screen. And maybe they say something that's bad or have a bad moment. And if that's exacerbated or used as the focus of an entire episode, sometimes you're going to think that person is just that way all the time. And that may even be true, but you can't know that for sure.
It may be true.
You know?
Yeah. And I feel, I just, we make a very concerted effort to not like make moralistic judgments, but sometimes it's hard and you like, I still find myself doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard like with Ben on Love is Blind when he says, there's good people on both sides of Black Lives Matter or whatever. What's that?
Yeah. I think I called him shitty on our podcast. And this is mainly what I'm thinking about. I'm like, I don't know that he's shitty, I guess.
No, you kind of do in that case. There are some singular statements, I think, that if people make, it's like, whatever else you're saying is kind of irrelevant. Yeah. And I feel like he pretty much did that in the pods. Nonetheless, let's move on to our next clip. This one comes to us from Ben and Ashley's Almost Famous podcast from February 10th. The guest was Rachel Recchia. And in this first clip, Rachel, Trista, and Ashley are sharing their thoughts on the Bachelorette getting, in quotes, paused or canceled, what have you. Let's take a listen.
And then when I was watching this episode, I was like, this is so bad.
It's bad.
I'm so sorry. I was like, this is a waste of my time right now. And I have never felt that way about the show.
Wow. I'm sorry. I think I misintroduced that. That was simply a clip of Ashley talking about how the show was a waste of her time. I can't... I guess I can't stress it enough. This is like the sentiment of Bachelor Nation is turning against the show in a weird way. I don't think this season is bad, you know, and Ashley is talking about how it's a waste of her time. I don't know.
I completely disagree. I don't even think there's been a single bad episode.
Yeah.
I don't really know. This is 210. I wonder what episode she had just watched, but disagree, but it's not good when your most company podcasts are shit talking the franchise like this. We are in a weird period, and I haven't watched your video yet. I've been a little bit underwater, but I did see a comment that was like, everything that happened in Unreal is coming true. And I did watch Unreal, and that was bad.
That one ended in murder, if I remember right. But I don't know if we're going to see that. But I do think it's interesting that Ashley I is essentially saying this is a shitty season. I'm not watching it, whatever. It's a waste of time. I don't agree with that at all. I think the play this season is outstanding. But what she's saying about it being a waste of time, I kind of get that psychology, because there's not going to be a Bachelorette that comes out of this. So I
think that's what she's kind of implying is like the Bachelorette news makes you not even want to watch the season.
But there's also something kind of behind the scenes in all of this. And it has been in Bachelor Nation for a long time, certainly since the first podcast started to appear talking about The Bachelor. There are factions basically within the Bachelor universe of producers, of players. And if you come through the show and Alon Gale was the showrunner when you were on it, that's what you remember the show being and how he ran the show and what it was like to be on it. He leaves the show after Colton Underwood's Bachelor season 23. And now there's this power vacuum. Bennett Graebner tries to suck up into there. Jason Ehrlich tries to suck up into there. They get Claire Freeland from Canada to come down. And they're all kind of vying for like, what is the new version of this show? And I think players like Ashley Canetti, who were there in the Alon Gale days, the heyday really of Bachelor, see this new version of it and see the new producers. And they're just kind of like, fuck this. That's not what The Bachelor really is.
I mean, if my creamy Caesar salad farts aired on VIP, I'd be done with the franchise too. You know, they showed the clip of me pissing in the ocean.
She allowed it. You showed the clip of me pissing in the ocean.
But they were shocked by the edit. They said that.
Maybe by the creamy Caesars, but like there's a camera operator sitting 5 feet away from her while she's peeing in the sand. That's not on them, you know. If they're shooting footage, they can use the footage.
Maybe she wasn't peeing. Maybe she was just sitting.
She was pooping?
No.
Oh. No, didn't she say she was peeing?
Let's hear our next clip.
Okay. The next clip is Ashley and Rachel Recchia discussing...
She might have said she was peeing.
I think she was. She did. Ashley and Rachel Recchia in this next clip are discussing why they are disappointed in the show, and Ashley shares Ben's take on what the biggest flaw of the show is, and you're going to want to hear this. Ooh. It's very interesting. Here we go. If you want to hear the rest of this episode, PaceCase and I's takes on all the rest of these clips, including some clips from Vial talking about what he thinks the future of the Bachelor franchise should be and what network it should move to, which is
does he say Vial wrong. Network?
Yeah. Exactly. He's like, you should get a new host, and it should be me, and it should be airing on my YouTube channel.
Like a Dark Lord Vial, I think, would really bring this franchise back.
It's a little different than that, but I would love to hear that. But if you want to hear that, you want to hear all the rest of this episode, all the rest of our Digging Deepers, if you want to get access to Clues Corner, PaceCase Palapa, you want to get on our Discord.
Ad-free episodes. Get on our Discord. Get all of our episodes earlier than we put them out elsewhere.
I don't think that's true.
Patreon.com.
But
I think it might be true. Patreon.com.
I think they come out simultaneously.
Might be simulcast. Okay, look. We got a fact checker on here, I guess. All right. Patreon.com/Game of Roses. Okay, we posted you could buy the wine earlier. That was true. That's a fact.
Yeah, that is true. Got early access to the wine. But we hope to see you in the pit for all of these benefits very soon.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us, and then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast.